You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time.
The Miami Dolphins played the Buffalo Bills week 2. Primetime football. Miami dominated time of possession. Miami had more passing yards. Miami had more rushing yards. Miami had more plays. Miami punted the ball once. And yet the Miami Dolphins were soundly defeated 31-10. And that's even a bigger talking point from the game. Mr. Charlie Touche, how are you?
It's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm your boy, Charlie Touche. Got my co-host, Kadeem Simmons, with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast, and affiliates, official affiliates of Fanatics, where you could be a fan of your favorite franchise. Kadeem, you were at the game. And I know there was hope that, what was it? We had all the stats you can name out there. Let me see if I can pull them up real quick. You got Josh Allen 6-0 on Thursday night games. Buffalo has beaten Miami the last 12 or 13 times, maybe 11 or 12. I can't remember. Buffalo hasn't lost a game by more than 6 points in like their past 42 games, something like that. It was all the good stuff, right? And you have a pretty good seat to witness it in person. What did you make of your night? I imagine it was not as good as the Jacksonville game.
Shout out to Drakey. He says, yo, Drakey, hope you are well. Charlie, I had amazing seats. Shout out to the Dolphin UK podcast and the Miami Dolphins. I was sitting like row 14, seat 17. Like I've got the end zone in front of me behind the Buffalo Bills sideline. A few negatives. Way too many Bill fans for my liking. It seems like it wasn't as bad as it had been in previous years, but I was just around too many Bills fans for a Dolphins home game in prime time. I had the guys standing in front of me talking about work, and it's like, yo, you spent all this money to come watch a Buffalo Bills game in prime time, and you're standing up talking about work. I really want to tell them to go away, but you know, I'm not home. I'm outnumbered. It is what it is. And then in terms of the actual game, I was front row for things you never want to see in your life, and the result is secondary to what happened to QB1 Tua Tagovailoa. But you know, it was a disappointing night in so many aspects, but also everything you just said about the omens going into this game. It's weird how I'm not upset or angry that we lost to the Bills, because that's at the moment that's just what we do. We lose to the Bills, and there's nothing Miami can do about it.
So, big story, big deal. Tua goes down during the game, but before we get to Tua, we're going to talk about the actual game, because I just feel like when we get to Tua, it's going to take up the entire podcast. So let's talk about the actual game. And to be transparent, Kadeem, we haven't talked. You were at the game, right? I came down to Florida, came to see you. We went to the Jacksonville game together. You went to Buffalo. I had to travel across the country. I am currently in the central time zone somewhere in the northern part of the country, and we haven't talked about the game yet. And I still haven't gotten to my destination. I got to travel some more. I'm like, yo, can you record? Because once I get on the road, it's another who knows how many 12, 10, 13 hours away, right? So let's get to the game, and we'll cover everything else. I'm being real with you, Kadeem. I used to play baseball when I was younger, and my uncle was one of the coaches on one of my teams. And we had a really good team growing up, but sometimes we couldn't put it together. Like, we were too comfortable, have a ton of errors, balls going through, like hitting off the glove, with overthrowing things, and it was just bad. And sometimes it was really bad. And my uncle will be at the dugout, and the crowd can hear him, the players can hear him, the other team can hear him, and he'll be like, da 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 da. And it's like, yo, the circus is in town. You know what I'm saying? Like, the circus is in town.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And he's just being super extra on the sideline. Like, just like, yo, he's the coach, but he's like, yo, this is what we came to do today, fellas. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this is the middle of a game. And baseball is a little different than football. You can hear everything that's going on. So we got that a little more than I would have liked when I was younger. And unfortunately, Kadeem, you went to a football game and a circus broke out. I just want to, like, how did you feel when you were watching the game unfold? Like, this is what we came with. This is Dolphins versus the Bills. This is what we're doing. This is our best effort.
We spoke beforehand about, the Bills were missing how many players in the secondary, missing Matt Milano. When watching it live, watching it in person, it was like they was at full strength. Every single Bills player was taking 4 or 5 players to be taken down, and they were literally like being dragged to the ground. It was like, completion to anyone. First Miami player gets there, nope, you ain't getting me down. Second player gets there, nope, you ain't getting me down. But it was like Dolphin players were getting there one by one. Whereas when like A-Chan had the ball, or Waddle caught the ball, or Johnny Smith caught the ball, there was just 5 Buffalo players there. Like, it's so difficult to explain the way in which the Buffalo Bills are big brother in the Dolphins right now. It's no matter what Miami tries to do, like, there were times, be it Tua or Skylar Thompson, didn't matter who was at quarterback. Von Miller looked like prime time Von Miller. He had Austin Jackson, friend of the podcast, Austin Jackson on toast. It was the Buffalo Bills. I can't explain how they get up, and watching it live, watching it there in person. I don't want to say the Dolphins looked defeated, because at one point the game was tied 7-7. You thought, okay, the Dolphins are going to get back into this, and they didn't. And Sean McDermott just has all the answers, and it doesn't matter who the Miami Dolphins coach is. They just can't figure it out. And being there in person, it's even worse than watching it on TV, because you can just see and you can hear the crowd around you just go, like, being negative and deflated, and it's just like, you can shout, "Let's go Dolphins!" Come on defense as much as you want. It makes no difference.
So I'm gonna disagree with you again, Kadeem. Last episode we had a disagreement. I was like, oh no, I don't think that's how it's gonna go. And actually, I'll tell you what the disagreement was. It was, they'll be careful with A-Chan and they'll split carries. I like, nah, bro. If you're suiting up, you're getting the full carry. You're getting the full load, right? A-Chan goes off. I would like to start this podcast with a Miami Dolphins win and play some A-Chan. The clip we got of A-Chan because he went off. But the Dolphins lose 31-10 to the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen's stat line is 13 for 19, 139 yards passing, 1 touchdown. I'm gonna say that again: 13 for 19, 139 yards passing, 1 touchdown. Oh, Josh Allen must have had 2 touchdowns on the ground and ran for 100 yards. Nope, just 2 attempts, 2 yards. If you told me that was a stat line, Kadeem, you would have thought the Miami Dolphins won. So I told you about when I played baseball, right? We don't have to go back to when I was a teenager. We could just go back to 8 months ago. Y'all know I'm in jiu-jitsu. Okay. I'm on my jiu-jitsu journey a little over a year now. I have I'm a 4th degree white belt. You know what I'm saying? I'm actually about to test to get my blue belt, basically. And it's not, you gotta do all kind of stuff and everything, right? And it's not like if you pass this test, you get your blue belt. It's gonna come eventually. My instructor is a purple belt, and he should be a brown belt. He's really like a brown belt, been doing it for 10 years on and off. He's super good. And when I started jiu-jitsu, and I'm glad I could share the story with GTD because y'all were here when I started. When I started jiu-jitsu, bro, I couldn't do anything to my instructor, bro. It was super bad, right? I'm tapping out in 10 seconds. I'm rolling with my instructor, and he'll pretzel me up like in some type of formation, and I'm tapping out. Mercy, I yield. You know what I'm saying? It's bad, right? So as I start going to more sessions, it's taking him a little bit longer to tap me out, Kadeem. Is the result the same? Absolutely. I still get tapped out by my instructor, but now it takes 60 seconds instead of 10. That's an accomplishment for me. You know what I'm saying? So here we are, a little over a year now, Kadeem. I roll with my instructor. You know, I've been out of town. I roll with my instructor. This was a couple months ago. I roll with my instructor. And not only do I make it over a minute and a half, I'm like, yo, we're really doing this right now. I feel real good about myself. I get him in a submission. Now, I don't tap him out, but I get the position. I'm like, yo, I don't even know what to do here because I didn't think I would be here. So I get my instructor in this position, and he gets out of it and taps me out. You're like, all right, I'm done. You know what I'm saying? But there was growth. You know what I'm saying? It was growth, and it was like, all right, I'm progressing. I'm getting better. The reason I'm telling that story is because I felt like my instructor like just big brothers me. Like, dang, bro, no matter what I do on this mat, I cannot beat my instructor. And it's almost like I will never be able to beat my instructor. And that's what the Buffalo Bills do to the Miami Dolphins in the past like 20 games, bro. Like, it's just, you just put your hand out on your little brother's forehead and he's swinging and he's going wild, and the Buffalo Bills just hold us there. And it's like, look at this, is cute. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's where we are as a franchise against the Buffalo Bills. So what I noticed, Kadeem, we got up last night. You know how it's so, nah, bro. Hey, Buffalo Bills be getting up for us. And you were like, nah, I don't think so. I'm like, nah, bro, these boys get up and then wet the bed against every other team last year. And then they had like a 9-8 record or something like that, right? Like, nah, bro, they get up against the Dolphins. So yesterday, the Dolphins decide, hey, all that Jacksonville Jaguar stuff, we're not letting that happen. We're gonna come out and we're gonna ball out. And you can kind of see the energy was there from the Dolphins. I'm like, all right, cool. We get the ball first, and I'm gonna break down the game. Not break down the game a little bit. I'm gonna give you the possessions real quick. If you work with me, Kadeem, and then we can get into some things.
So very,
go ahead.
2 seconds. Shout out to Cameron. He says, yo, I just subscribed. Cameron, welcome to Go Time Dolphins. Hope you enjoy yourself. Thank you for the subscription. And shout out to Rob. He says, subtle, tough one to take last night. Rob, how are you doing?
Shout out to everybody in the comments. Shout out Drakey. Shout out to the gracious Hannah Montana. So opening drive, we're driving QB1 accuracy. When you go to Madden and you're creating a player and it's 99 this, 99 that, 99 this, Tua Ningamanu Olipola Tungavaloa accuracy is not on 99, Kadeem. It's on like 100 and something else. Grant DuBose runs a route, doesn't turn out the route. The ball's in the air. The ball's, on the money, hits him in the shoulder, and he's not looking for it, and it's an interception. First drive, right? Buffalo gets the ball, ensuing possession, scores a touchdown. We're down 7-0. Miami gets the ball back. We're easily driving down the field. It's 7-7. I'm like, okay. And I'm not gonna lie. You can see we're a little antsy. Like, nah, bro, we're not losing to Buffalo today. Like, you can kind of see it in the team. Like, nah, not today. And all right, I appreciate that, but excuse me. Let's calm down a little bit. Let's like, and it was just a little too antsy. So we score. Buffalo gets the ball back and they punt. Cool. This is where we want to be. It's 7-7. We threw that pick early. We got the ball back. Miami's driving, and we throw an interception. I'm not sure where this is. This could be like late first quarter, maybe early second quarter. I'm not sure. Now, this interception, at first glance, when I watched this pick, Robbie, I'm not sure the dude's name anymore. I think it's Robbie Chosen, right? No. So Robbie Chosen runs a route, and Tua doesn't, like, it looks like a egregious overthrow. Matter of fact, while we're talking about overthrows, shout out to GTD affiliate, Sherrod Steve. Tua overthrows Tyreek, and I'm in this phone like, hey, bro, there goes your second overthrow to Tyreek. Can we be happy now? Because Sherrod Steve, oh, how come Tua never overthrows Tyreek? How come he never overthrows? I'm like, bro, why do you want to see your quarterback overthrow somebody? You know what I'm saying? Almost with this conversation of he can't throw the ball. All right, like he don't have an arm to throw it. So for some giggles, I hit up Steve again. There goes your overthrow. Like, can we relax now? You know what I'm saying? So now we see this overthrow to Robbie Chosen, and in my group chat, everybody's tripping. I ain't gonna lie, everybody's tripping everywhere. Actually, it's 2 picks now. It's 7-7. I think the Dolphins were very antsy, Kadeem, and the crowd was very antsy. The fans are very antsy. The social media is very antsy. Dolphin fans in my phone, like, I'm like, bro, it's the first quarter. Relax. What's up with y'all boys? You know what I'm saying? And I know I'm going long, but work with me, Kadeem. I'm gonna give you the floor. So I thought, in my group chat, I'm like, yeah, I think that was just a bad overthrow, right? When I seen the replay in a different angle, I'm like, all right. Robbie Chosen runs a comeback, and Tua throws a corner. Something's not right here. It has to get fixed because now these are 2 interceptions on players who, they don't have too much time on the field with Tua. So, and someone's gonna say, "Oh, you're making excuses." No, this is not an excuse. Let's diagnose the game as is. Grant DuBose doesn't run out of his route. He gets hit in the shoulder with the ball, like crazy. Pick. There's some type of misunderstanding with what route needs to be run. Robbie Chosen runs a comeback. Tua throws a corner. Kadeem, I'm gonna say this one time, bro, because LB said it, and I'm gonna just dress it up the way I would say it. Like, Robbie Chosen been on maybe 4 teams in 2 years, right? In practice, all the receivers come to Tua and say, "Hey, what route do I run on this?" You know what I'm saying? So who is more likely to make a mistake on this play? Like, did Tua throw the wrong route or did Robbie Chosen run the wrong route? We would never know. Not a big deal because it's still a pick on Tua's stats. So it's like, all right, we got 2 picks. It doesn't matter. So when I watched that, Kadeem, I'm like, well, Tua doesn't go up to Robbie Chosen and say, "Hey, yeah, this is what I need you to do on this route." You know what I'm saying? It was like they just both sat down separately. So I'm like, oh, well, maybe it was just a bad pass. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. But I do know something's not right. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right, we'll figure it out. It's still 7-7. It's okay. The world did not end yet. Buffalo gets the ball, puts up 3 points on the field goal on the next drive. And now it's 10-7, 12 minutes and 41 seconds left in the second quarter. Let's go to some comments real quick before I continue, Kadeem.
So, yeah, Drakey asked about the people think Robbie Chosen ran it wrong, but you answered that. Shout out to Bias Docs. He says, Tua is like 1-12 v. Allen, Mahomes, and Burrow. I like Tua, but I feel like he falls under pressure. And then Rob SAFC says, Chosen ran the wrong road. It's a visible comeback rather than a slip that people said at the time. Chase Daniel said it was a wrong route, ran as well. And shout out to the touchdown with Doug Smith. He said, good morning, fellas. Shout out to Doug, Bias Docs, Rob, Drakey, everyone in the comments. Keep them coming. We will try to get to as many as possible.
So we're going to keep it going. And we're going to just try to clear everything up and be as smooth as possible in the operation. So it's 12 minutes left, and it's basically the whole second quarter still. It's still 13 minutes left in the second quarter. Dolphins down 10-7. Tua has already thrown 2 picks, and it's like, all right, this is not good no more. Like, this is not feeling good no more. But the world has ended already on social media. The world is over with already. The Dolphins blew it, and Tua's not it, and the phone's blowing up. I'm like, are y'all watching the same game I'm watching? Because like, yo, like just assess what you see. You know what I'm saying? Like, just vibe. It's still a whole 3 quarters of football left. Let's relax. All right. So Miami gets the ball, ensuing possession. The drive stalls. We punt. Shout out to Jake Bailey. All you needed was a little competition, homie. I like it. Yeah, it's shout out to Jake Bailey. All right. Buffalo gets the ball back, and it's the easiest 85-yard drive that ends up in the touchdown. Defense was not on one. Like, they were on something else yesterday. It's crazy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure what the defense got going on, and maybe it's early in the Weaver process, but defense wasn't it yesterday. All right. Now, I got something for everyone. Oh, defense was on the field too long. I got something for y'all, boys. Don't worry about that. So Miami gets the ball back. Turnover on downs. We go for it on 4th down. We don't get it. So now it's getting a little bad. Now it's still 17-7, 6 minutes left in the second quarter. Buffalo gets the ball back. James Cook, 60-yard run, touchdown. Like, all right, defense, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? All right, Dolphins, what are we doing? It's 24-7, 3 minutes, 30 seconds left in the second quarter. We're going into halftime. The Dolphins are driving. And year one, Mike McDaniel reveals himself once again. We're not calling timeouts. The time management, clock management is novice beginner type of clock management. Almost as if the Dolphins don't practice with timeouts. Like, yo, when you're running the 2-minute drill in practice, it's like, oh, this is a game time situation. We got to pretend like it's a game. And I feel like they don't give coach timeouts in practice. Like, yo, coach, you got 3 timeouts. You can use these things. And he doesn't burn the first time out until 52 seconds. It took 60 whole seconds to run 2 plays in a 3-minute drill. In a 2-minute drill, at the 2-minute warning, 60 seconds, a whole minute to run 2 plays. He calls the first time out with 52 seconds left, calls the second time out after 20 minutes, runs off the clock after a play is over. Nah, bro, this is not the time for everybody to wet the bed at the same time. Now I'm gonna give you the floor, Kadeem, but give me a second. I'm almost there. For everyone who says, yo, we can't get over Buffalo. Buffalo beat us down and they got our number and this and that and this. I'm like, that's not what I saw, Kadeem. I saw the Dolphins wet the bed. Like, Buffalo didn't do anything to us. You know what I'm saying? Outside of a couple running plays on defense where we didn't stop. I'm like, yo, we gave them the game from the beginning. At the very beginning of the game, the script was over with. You know what I'm saying? You can't play like that, right? So, and I'm going to give you a little graphic analogy here, if there's any kids around. This is like someone standing in public, Kadeem, and they just urinate on themselves. And then they say, oh, why'd you do this to me? Like, yo, you did it to yourself. Buffalo didn't do nothing to y'all. Y'all gave them the game, i.e., Josh Allen stats. You know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't have to do anything to us, Kadeem. We beat ourselves down. They didn't beat us down at all. What you got?
A few more comments. Touchdown with Doug Smith says, I legit cried last night. My heart is broken. Mike Larry says, back to searching for a franchise quarterback after giving out a massive contract for one. Bystock says, Poyer is old. Charlie, no urgency at all before half. No timeouts and 3-yard passes. And then Touchdown with Doug Smith returns and says, unpopular opinion. I'm not crazy about Mike McDaniel. I don't like his play calling. This is the beginning of the end for him. Charlie, I think there is an element of the Dolphins kind of wet the bed that Buffalo didn't have to do anything to get that win. But I also feel like it's some kind of what Buffalo have done to Miami in the past is why the Dolphins are wetting the bed against Buffalo. Like, it's like you said the Dolphins were anti. I felt like they were too overhyped. I thought everyone's on like a raw speech, and it's like, you play this game, not the occasion. Like, yes, you're playing Buffalo at home in primetime. You're playing Buffalo in 2024, who nearly got beat by the Cardinals. You're not playing Buffalo when Josh Allen was going nuclear with Stephon Diggs. And we're legit thinking, yo, this is a team that might actually win the Super Bowl. It's the Dolphins. I know you haven't kind of gone the entire game, but the Dolphins punted once all night, and it's funny how like you saw against Jacksonville, 3rd and short, fullback dive to Alakingo. Everyone's like, yo, we've got this, brilliant. Done it once last night, picked up the 1st down. Yo, brilliant, perfect. 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 1, fullback dive to Alakingo. Buffalo said, nah. We saw you did this last week. You done it once last tonight. We're adjusting.
Yeah.
And then 4th and 2, Miami goes empty, and Buffalo said, yo, what are you doing? Like, you don't have the offensive line tonight. Like, we've Ed Oliver or Von Miller, like, we've dominated this game. Turnover 1 down, 6-yard run. It's like, it's so weird how like people are looking at, and rightfully so, the interception Tua has thrown and who he's thrown the ball to. These are guys where it's like they shouldn't even be on the Dolphins practice squad, let alone starting games and stuff like that. But essentially, kind of again, who was Josh Allen thrown to last night? Generally, couldn't tell you. Like Josh, it's a very long-winded way of saying that Buffalo have basically struck terror and fear into the Dolphins. That, like you said, at the first sign of any adversity last night, we're both in groups. Everyone, game done. This is embarrassing. It's like, yo, can we not? And it feels like that energy just seeps into the team as well, because even at 17-7, the game wasn't done, and yet all of a sudden it was just like our heads went down again. Panic. You can feel it. You can feel it in the crowd as well, and it's just like, guys, what are we doing? Like, I'm still trying to be hyped. Like, yo, let's go. We can get back into this. All it takes is the drive we saw and Achane going off. And again, until we figure out how to stop Buffalo from big brothering us, it's going to be a long process. But at the same time, as a fan base, we can't be super negative at the first sign of adversity. At the first interception, we can't say that's it. It's over. Charlie, I know someone who travelled to the Buffalo game from the UK. He touched down on Wednesday afternoon, basically. So arrives Wednesday afternoon, boom, Buffalo. Charlie, he left in the 3rd quarter. And I'm like, yo, you travelled all that way to leave in the 3rd quarter. I don't care what the score is. You must be the richest guy in the world, because there is no way you leave a football game. You traveled all those miles, skipped all those time zones, and spent all that money on flights and tickets to leave after 45 minutes. And then people are shouting at him, the greatest talent is walking past. And it's like, I don't get it. I feel like as a fan base and a team, we give up against Buffalo. We either give up or don't turn up or get too overhyped. And you don't think so?
No, I don't think it is just Buffalo. I think that's every time there's some adversity, the fans panic. Like, even if you remember when we played Baltimore and we were down 13 against Baltimore, the game was over. I'm like, yo, did y'all not watch the game the season prior? Like, why would y'all think the game is over at 14-zip or something like that? Oh, this is different. Like, bro, it's a football game. It's 4 quarters, and people quit after the first and a half quarter. Like, so it's crazy. And I want to touch on something you said. 17-7, 6 minutes left in the 2nd quarter. I want to be very clear. 6 minutes left in the 2nd quarter is 17-7. That's when we went for it on 4th down, and that's when we turned over it was a turnover on downs. So I want to be very clear. I don't ever second guess Coach McDaniel when he goes for it on 4th and 8 or throws a bomb on 3rd and 8. Like, he has won my trust on going for it on 4th down. Although he does not have the best percentage on going for it on 4th down, he still won my trust. I understand that, right? So I want to be very clear when I say this. If you punt there and play the percentage game, like, all right, let's flip the field. Buffalo hasn't really done anything to us yet. Let's flip the field, punt it. It's still 17-7, 6 minutes. we get a stop. It's still the same game. Like, all right, we can score before the half, whatever. That's not what we did. And I hate when people say, oh, we should have punted. Now, I don't know if we should have punted, but I'm like, we don't have to panic. So the fans are panicking. The players are over anxious. There's a lot of anxiety, and even coach isn't even right. So everybody feels it. He says it. 24 years, hasn't won a playoff game. Everyone feels it, right? So I'm like, relax. We didn't have to go for it. We don't have to panic right now. And here's about this O-line thing. So, we're going to conclude this first half, and then we'll talk about the bigger issue at stake. So about the O-line thing, when coach is wetting the bed and not calling timeouts when he's supposed to, we get down to maybe, I want to say like the 15-yard line, maybe 17-yard line, and we don't have any timeouts. It's 12 seconds left. We'll call it a 15. It's 12 seconds left. No timeouts. Third down, I think. Well, it doesn't matter. This is the last play before the half. And everyone knows Tua gets the ball out faster than any quarterback in the NFL by design, because it helps with our scheme and it helps protect the O-line. Everyone knows that. Here's where I disagree with why, the O-line is okay and it's not, we're not as concerned about it as everyone else is. Because if you had an O-line that blocked and protected properly, you could give your quarterback time to, all right, I got 12 seconds. Now I could drop back and take a one play and scan the field for real. And then I could throw it away if I have to. But that doesn't happen because we don't have the line. So basically, Tua just snapped it, got off, went off one read and threw it away. That's it, because that's all the time he had, right? That being said, shout out to touchdown with Doug Smith. He said he doesn't believe in Coach McDaniel's play calling. I disagree, Doug. We had the best offense in the league 2 years in a row. Like, that's got to mean something. I don't know how you're going to replace that with a different play caller. So, and that's factual. I think we had the best offense in the league. We were second best last year and maybe sixth best the year before. So I don't know how you replace that with a different play caller. I don't know who you bring in to make it better than that. So I'm comfortable with Coach McDaniel calling plays. You got to be better. You got to be better. Everyone has to be better. And Kadeem, I've said this many times on this podcast, no one's perfect. You're not going to find the perfect everything, the perfect coach, the perfect play caller, the perfect quarterback. Even Mahomes isn't perfect. Like, you're never going to find that, right? And everyone's going to have a weakness that they got to work on. Shout out to Tua. He said he had 4 things he had to work on in the offseason. I thought I knew 3 of them. I can't remember off the top. But one of them was checking the ball down more. Peyton Manning said, yo, you'll never go broke taking a profit. You don't have to keep going deep ball. Like, everyone was feeding into the narrative, oh, you can't do this, you can't do this. And McDaniel and Tua was aligned on, now we're going to prove everybody wrong. And now this year, they're like, yo, we don't have to prove anybody wrong. Tua got paid. We're one of the best offenses in the league. Yo, if they're going to play too high, cover 2, we're gonna check down the ball the entire game. And that's what we did. That's why you see A-Chain getting off. So that's where I'm at with that. Bigger fish to fry. After halftime, for those of us who are on the defense been on the field too long and that's why they're tired. We come out of halftime, Buffalo gets the ball and scores on us. Had nothing to do with being tired. It's because we fresh out of halftime. So there's a legit issue here with our defense. But the bigger issue is, before I go here, Kadeem, I have again, everyone knows me and you do not talk about the game prior to the podcast. We just wait to come on the podcast and we have a candid conversation for everyone to see and join in on. Shout out to everyone in the comments. Kadeem, before the game started, I was rushing to get to the game to watch the game, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to watch it. Had to watch it on the laptop. You know what I'm saying? All this stuff, right? And before the game started, I had to think. I'm like, man, is this the first Thursday night game since the major concussion? Right? And so what I do to be, just transparent with everyone, all of our subscribers and everyone listening, when I watch the game, I take down notes. While I'm watching the game, I'm taking down some notes so I could discuss them on the podcast and be like, oh, yeah, I got to bring that up on the podcast. I got to see what Kadeem says about this. And I'll take down some notes. So I noted at 7:17, the game has not even started yet. And I'm like, is this the first game since the major concussion on Thursday Night Football. And I was going to ask Kadeem this on the podcast, right? Like, hey, Kadeem, is this the first game on Thursday night since like the first Thursday night game since he had a major concussion? And then I was thinking Kadeem would be like, yeah, I think it was. And then I was going to, my next question, Kadeem, was, do you think he thought about that? Do you think Tua thought, yo, the last time I had that major concussion, it was a Thursday night game, right? And now suddenly it doesn't matter because it happened again. It's crazy that I thought about this before the game even started. I have screenshots like, yo, let me ask Kadeem this on the podcast. And then it actually happens. Tua is scrambling. I think it was like third down, actually. 3rd and 3, maybe. 4th down. 3rd down. It was like, yo, all or nothing. Basically, it's 4 hard for the rest of the game. We're going for it on 4th down every game, every drive now. Tua scrambles. And instead of diving or sliding after he got the first down, he basically tries to like truck the safety, tries to run over, hit stick the safety, right? And when we played the Steelers, Kadeem, after the major concussion on Thursday Night Football against the Bengals, the first major one where everyone was watching it and Amazon played it back 1,000,000 times, and Tua's hands was fencing and everything like that. Tua came back against the Steelers. Matter of fact, that's actually been my screensaver. I'm gonna show y'all my screensaver. That's been my screensaver ever since. Ever since Tua came back, that was my screensaver. This is it. Tua comes back against the Steelers. My screensaver hasn't changed ever since. And he, if you remember, he took on like a linebacker and a safety and tried to run through him. And everyone was like, yo, what are you doing, bro? Like, why would you do that? You just came back from a major concussion. We don't need you to get hurt. And Tua, post-game, this is first game back. Tua says, I know people are concerned, but I needed to do that for me. Like, yo, I needed to know if I'm okay. And I needed to take that hit. I needed to see if I'm okay or not. And I needed to do that for me. And when he said that after that Steelers game, I'm like, yo, I respect that so much, bro. Because I kind of needed to see it too. I needed to know, like, yo, what are we doing here? Like, are you okay or not? So he survives, goes the entire season without getting a concussion, without getting injured. And then we're here. We arrive here, Kadeem. I would defer to you now. What was that like being at the stadium, knowing the quarterback's history, and you see that happen in front of you?
So when you say happen in front of me, Charlie, I am, like I said, I'm section 120, row 14. I'm literally directly in front of me is where he snapped the ball. And like you want to say, oh, I was in the stadium for the comeback against Buffalo. I was in the stadium for the comeback against Baltimore. Like you want to say all those kind of stuff. Charlie, I don't want to say that I was in the stadium and Tua got concussed again because it's scary. And it's like, I think the worrying thing for me, and I've had other people, I woke up this morning and my phone is just, obviously I'm from the UK. So in the UK, it's like 2 p.m. right now. Or I wake up, it's like, around midday. So everyone's woken up messaging me, yo, what do you think? Are you okay with that kind of stuff? And the worrying thing is that outside of, Tua, slide, like, what are we doing? You got the first down, slide, protect yourself. It wasn't a hit where everyone went, ooh, like them hits where it's like, yo, someone's gonna get hurt here. It was a fairly, I guess, bang bang play, if that's the right phrase to use. But I guess in cruel irony, happens to, or the player he hits is Damar Hamlin. And I think to me, it's Damar Hamlin doesn't hit Tua. Tua hits Damar Hamlin. He kind of hits him in his pads, but just the way he kind of like he neck compresses into or against Damar Hamlin, it wasn't good. And then, like I keep saying, the worrying thing is that happens to other players quite a lot. It's quite a nice play. It wasn't something I guess you couldn't replicate. It probably happens to so many players during the game, and they get up completely fine. And we've all seen it Tua kind of like when I first saw it, it looked like Tua was like motioning. People say, "Yo, I'm okay." You know, I'm a UK football fan, soccer fan. When players break their legs, they kind of like motion for people to say, "Hey, come here, like I'm hurt, like come help me." I thought that happened to Tua. I thought he was motioning for someone to come and help him. Watched it back, seeing people zoom in, his hands kind of like fencing, kind of like frozen. 5-yard Lee was in the press box for the game. He messaged immediately saying his hand is fenced. And I guess it's weird because, you know, the one against the Bengals, he's carted off. You know, it's bad. Everyone knows it's bad. This one, and again, where I'm saying, you see you see Coach run over, players immediately kind of go over to him, taking these, so you know it's bad. But then after a few minutes, he sits up, and he walks off. And I messaged in our chat, I was like, "Yo, he's limping." Now, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to know that he suffered a concussion. Also, you're kind of thinking he seems okay. Like he's up, he's limping, but he doesn't seem like he's totally out of it. It doesn't seem like, you know, there's nothing behind the eyes. From my vantage point, he's had his bell rung, but I'm thinking long term he's going to be okay because of what we've seen happen to him in the past. You know, kind of jumping forward a bit, coach says that you know, Tua basically went around the entire locker room after the game, speaking to players, you know, trying to get them not fired up, but basically, you know, just talking to players, trying to raise morale basically because it was a tough night. And again, I'm still thinking, well, if that's happening, he went home, he didn't go to hospital. I feel like I'm trying to convince myself he's going to be okay, as opposed to having that conversation of, and people are having a conversation in my phone. It's all over social media. It happened immediately after. You know, people were having it on broadcast, podcast, all that kind of stuff. I don't want to have the conversation. Should we retire? But I can genuinely understand why this time around people are like, "Yo, maybe kids should think about calling it quits," because for whatever reason, he seems to take some hits which other players take 24/7, and he comes off worse. And how do you stop that from happening?
All right, Kadeem. So I watched it happen. You actually had a 14th row seat at it. So when I seen it, I knew it. Right. So when he's running, it's only been 2 games. He's been more mobile than he has been in previous times. He looks real good running. Like, yo, he could get out of like and get us a couple yards. DraftKings only had his over under at 2.5 yards, and he's been smashing that, right? When he ran and I seen the hit at first glance, you know, again, I was like, yo, that wasn't even a bad hit. And I think what you were looking for was it wasn't as violent. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't as violent as some of the hits that we see when people take these concussions. And when you slow it down and you see how the neck compresses, you can understand how we got there. But at the same time, and to be candid, when you hit or get hit, your head, you should not ever be looking at the ground. Earl Thomas does it all the time, did it all the time. And every time I seen Earl Thomas hit, he would be glorified for his hard hits. But I'm like, yo, that is improper, bro. Like any one of them hits, and it's a wrap. Like you could be paralyzed, literally. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, yo, and you teach it in Optimist football. If you're looking at the ground, something is wrong. And people, and I'm gonna be very clear, a lot of football players do it all the time and they get away with it, thankfully. But it's like, yo, this is improper technique, right? So you want your face up. You never want to be looking at the ground and you're getting hit in the head. All right. I own a company. I have my own business, Kadeem. You actually know that I have my own business. And when I started this business 2 years ago, you know, it's still getting off the ground. So sometimes I work for other people, but I still have my own company and I'm trying to do my thing. While running my own business, when I go to my client, the client will say, all right, this is what we need you for. We need X amount of people here. How many people can you bring us? I'll bring X amount of people. I'll understand the assignment, for lack of better phrasing, and the job is on my shoulders. It is up to me to perform. If I don't perform, Kadeem, they're going to say, hey, sorry, but we're letting you guys go. You didn't do what we need you to do, right? There's sometimes I come across certain clients, and I'm going to be clear. Some of these clients have the ability to change my life forever financially, right? So I'm just hoping for that day to actually happen one day, right? It hasn't happened yet, but I'm praying for it, right? So once upon a time, I had a contract with a client, and it was the biggest contract I've ever had in my life. I'm like, yo, this is a big deal. It was such a big deal that, Kadeem, if I don't perform here, not only are they never going to call me again, there's a chance that everyone's job is affected by my performance. This is a true story. Like, I'm like, yo, I kind of felt the weight of that job. I'm like, dang, the person who hired me is going to get fired if I don't perform here. Not only is that person going to get fired, he makes over $100,000 a year. Regular dude, wake up, you know what I'm saying? I got to go to work every day. Trusted me with this assignment. You know what I'm saying? The people above him, there's people around him that's also going to get fired. So if I don't perform, I'm like, dang, it's not just me not getting a call back and the people who work under me are not going to have a job. The people around him are going to get fired as well. So I'm like, dang, bro, this is a lot to bear. The reason I bring that up, Kadeem, is because in the offseason, Tua got paid $50+ million a season. And he said these words. He said, I know that I'm the highest paid employee in the building now. Like he knows it. He knows I'm the highest paid employee in the building and how important his job is. So he knows that. And now this is where we arrive. Tua takes a concussion. And I'm going to be very clear again. Multiple players suffer multiple concussions every year. All right. And some of them keep playing and some of them go undiscovered. So concussions are unfortunately very common. Tua's concussions are visually terrible. Like, yo, this is bad, bro. You know what I'm saying? And here's where I arrive. All of Tua's other concussions were ground induced, meaning he hit the ground and his head, the back of his head to be specific, hit the ground harder. Like, and no human on the face of the earth can endure a certain amount of force when the back of your head hits the ground. If you check out 6'4", 6'5", Anthony Richardson, 250 pounds, same thing happened to him. He suffered a concussion. It is common in football, right? So you don't want to see the back of your head hit the ground. Kadeem, this man's head did not hit the ground. This was the first concussion in Tua's career where he got hit and he got a concussion. Now I am concerned. We have over how many episodes? 500? I don't know. Something like that.
449, I think this is.
And I feel like in at least 80 of them, I've said I am not concerned about Tua's injuries. You know what I'm saying? I've said that many a times, maybe more than 80, maybe 200 of them. Like, yo, I'm not concerned, bro. I'm not concerned about Tua's injuries, right? Or the concussions at that time. I have arrived to being concerned about Tua's concussions now because this one was not ground induced and it did not look as violent as some of the other hits that we see people take around the head and neck area. So now there's a football conversation that actually has to be had. What do we do now, Kadeem?
I think so a few things. And people might say it's harsh. People might say, you know, I'm being unfair and stuff like that. But, you know, you said this is Tua's first concussion, which is, you know, wasn't injured by him hitting the back of his head. But very much like the Bengals concussion, yo, you need to do better in terms of, against the Bengals, throw it away. You can't play hero ball 24/7. You held the ball for too long, throw it away. And if you throw the ball for too long, someone's going to hit you. It's unfortunate, but, you know, people say that's your offensive line's fault. The offensive line done its job. It gave him as much time as possible. There comes a time nothing's on, throw it away. People were saying on this one, this happens when you don't have an offensive line. Tua scrambled. You could have the best line in the entire world. Tua took off. Tua didn't protect himself. Tua dove, like you said, if you're diving, tackling, and you're looking down, it's bad form, bad practice. This is the consequence of that. And I don't think it's unfair to say Tua should have slid. If Tua slid and they mark him down early and it's a turnover on downs, people be angry. But, like they're saying Friday, you live to fight another day. Tua, hey, next time don't forget the ball, Tua's on the field. We'll be very, very annoyed. But that's also from a standpoint and hindsight where we know that Tua dove forward, hit his head, and is now ruled out for God knows how long. What did the Dolphins do? First things first. Do not call Ryan Tannehill.
Hold on. Before we get there, I want to touch on everything you just said. I promise I'll let you go first and where you was going. That's why I brought up me having my own business. Like, the weight of the world is on my shoulders. Tua knows how important he is to the franchise. And I want to be as sensitive as possible when I say this. All of Tua's injuries, in some form of respect, it was like, yeah, you could have got the ball out faster, and this doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? Throw this ball away. This doesn't happen, right? You don't have to take this hit. You can dive. You can slide, like you said, Kadeem. And you said if he don't get the first, he already got the first. Now, I understand as the uber competitive that people are, that you have to be as a football player. You're like, nah, I want to show my team that I want this, right? I want to show my team that I'm here with them. I want to show my team that I'll put it all on the line for them. I understand that. But you got paid $50 million a year, like Tua. You also have to understand, I want to show my team that I understand if I'm not playing, this team isn't going to win games. And that's incumbent upon you to protect yourself. So now, Kadeem, again, as I want to be as sensitive as possible, don't want to sound insensitive, but we arrived here because Tua is not protecting himself. You see what I'm saying? And I said I'll let you go first, but I do want to put this out there. Because we're here now and Tua isn't protecting himself, Tua is more than likely going to have a conversation with his family, more than likely. And if Tua doesn't have a conversation, they're going to have a conversation with him. Hey, we got to talk. All right. But because we're here now, because of Tua's actions, and I don't want to say because of his health or because of this and that, like, you're not protecting yourself. Now, as the Miami Dolphins franchise, we have to have a conversation about football games. Like, well, if Tua isn't going to understand that he has to protect himself, we have to protect ourselves in other ways. And I'll get to that after I give you the floor and you say what you say.
So JML says, I'm a huge fan of Greer and Mike McDaniel, but they are officially peeing him off with this O-line player don't matter BS. I don't know if this is in relation to Tua's injury or just the overall game. So clarify, because I don't want to go down one road if you're not going down that road with me. But I was, we drove back from the game, myself, the Dolphin UK podcast, and the Gracious Hannah. And, I said, when we, Go Time Dolphins, had friend of the podcast, Javon Holland, on the podcast, and Charlie, you asked Holland what it was like when Tua trucked the Jets defender, and Holland was like, we were like, yo, let's go. That's fine. But that's fine before Tua got hurt. Because I feel like the way the game was going, Tua was like, yo, I need that spark again. I need to get us going. And I'm going to try truck someone over. It's like, yo, Tua, you don't need to. Because like I said, Charlie, you've been paid $50 million. And you have a history of brain injury. And when those two things, collide, you need to take better care of yourself. I was saying previously, do not call Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill is not. Being better than Skylar Thompson does not mean the Dolphins need to call you, because there's probably some people in the stadium who could get a call from the Dolphins right now because they're better than Skylar Thompson. And I'm not trying to have a go at Skylar Thompson. That's a whole other conversation. I've seen people say the Dolphins need to call Tom Brady, and I don't need them to call him to play. But this sounds weird, and if I'm wrong, please correct me. I feel like he might need to have a conversation with him, be like, yo, you need to stop playing this kind of football. Like, Tom Brady was someone who would scramble so often, but he was sliding. He was like, I didn't watch every single Tom Brady snap to know how many times he dove forward, but I don't remember him trying to truck players. He's like, yo, I know my limitations. I know how my body is built, and I know that I need to slide. And I feel like, someone needs to, if it's not his family, someone in the building, someone, a former player, and say, hey, Tua, you're not built like you're not built like Josh Allen, and you need to slide. And again, there'll be a conversation where it's like, well, when I came back against the Bengals and I dove head first against the Steelers, or there've been a few times where I've dove, it's like, yeah, cool, Tua. As you're getting older, and for whatever reason, as your brain is developing and your body's developing and everything that's happening, you need to protect yourself more than everyone else. Quarterbacks get more protection, oh God, than position. And again, Tua could slide. Okay, prime example. I think it's Thursday Night Football, Miami Dolphins v Baltimore Ravens. Joe Flacco slides, and Kiko Alonso says, fluff your side. I don't care what you're doing, I'm hitting you. And Kiko Alonso knocks out Joe Flacco. Violent hit. And I'm sure Tua would answer and say, well, that could happen to me. I could protect myself, I could slide. And it takes one reckless defender to say, well, I don't care if you're sliding, I'm still diving head first or shoulder first and hitting you. And again, this goes back to the whole, a conversation needs to be had, because there is not a single scenario which anyone can come up with where Tua doesn't get hit. It's impossible. The Dolphins could build the best offensive line in the entire world. 5 All-Pros, the best in their position. Tua's still going to get sacked. And if he doesn't get sacked, he's going to scramble and he's going to get hurt. Or he's going to throw the ball and someone's going to hit him. Unless the league changes the rules where you can not physically touch a quarterback, Tua's going to be playing a sport where he's going to get in physical contact with someone else. And it's the best. That's a long-winded way of me saying he can't be protected even if he protects himself. And like you said, I don't know what the Dolphins do about that, or what he does about that.
All right, so you invoke the name Ryan Tannehill. Let's talk about Skylar Thompson. Not it. Skylar Thompson is not it, bro. Like, he's not it. And this is, I'm like, yo, Skylar Thompson is the emergency third backup. Like, if you need he's not even that, bro. And again, this is not a shot. If you want to take it as a shot, that's fine. Skylar Thompson, are you better than me? Can I play in the NFL right now? All right, probably not. You're right. But you're not one of the top 90 quarterbacks in the world, bro. Like, and that's just my opinion. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to win a game, Kadeem. Not one game if Skylar Thompson is our quarterback. It's not going to happen. That being said, you said Ryan Tannehill. Here's my thing. We're talking about today, all right? So I don't know that you call Ryan Tannehill today without having the conversation of about, well, when is Tua coming back, right? So I don't know when the bring in a quarterback conversation is going to happen. We have to talk about the future for more quarterbacks in the future, but I'm talking about more so today. What do you do today? What's it look like for Tua today? Is Tua ever going to come back this season? Is he going to come back against the Titans or even Seattle, because there's a longer week, right? So people are saying, oh, they're going to hold him out even. Hold on. People are saying they're going to hold him out even longer now because of his concussion injury. You wanted to interject?
Yeah, so apparently he has to miss the Seattle game because he's been diagnosed with concussion. So apparently, if you get diagnosed with concussion, you have to miss the next game. So even if Tua's like, "Yo, I'm good, I'm fine," get medically cleared, he has to miss Seattle.
All right, cool. And it's an extended week, by the way. So I was not sure if that is covered in the it's an extended bye week, right? Like, what if this was week 5 and you got a concussion and then the bye week happened? Can he not play in week 7? You know what I'm saying? Now this is not just Tua. This is according to the concussion rule. So what if you had a concussion in week 5, your bye was week 6? Can you not play in week 7 according to that rule? So that's why I'm like, yo, I don't understand that. But here we are. And there's going to be a conversation. Oh, the Dolphins should hold him out even longer, right? The Dolphins should not even let him play. The Dolphins should do X, Y, and Z. And then there is, well, what does the doctor say? You know what I'm saying? Because at the time the doctor says you're cleared, what should the Dolphins do? Should the Dolphins say, nah, bro, we hear you, Mr. Neurologist, but we don't believe he's good yet, so we're going to hold him out more weeks? You know what I'm saying? Because in my opinion, I'm not a brain surgeon. He's going to be cleared eventually. You know what I'm saying? Like, eventually, Tua's going to be cleared to play football, and then the onus is going to be on the Dolphins. Well, y'all put him back out there too soon. Like, did we put him back out there, or did the doctor say he was good to go? Like, at what point do you say, well, nah, he's not good to go? All right. So here we are. I don't think Skylar Thompson's going to cut it. We could have the conversation about what we should have did. Tyler Huntley and DTR, Jameis Winston. The Browns had 4 quarterbacks, 3 backup quarterbacks that were all available on the market. And on Go Time Dolphins, we're like, yo, go get a backup quarterback. That's inexpensive, by the way. So I'm gonna be real with you, Kadeem. Well, let me process this before I introduce this, and I want to see if we can set it up and move forward to another part of the conversation. So I guess we should go here. Tua's gonna come back and play this year, Kadeem?
I'm gonna say yeah.
I'm gonna say yeah too. Like, yeah, he's gonna come back and play this year. If he's gonna come back and play this year, what does that mean for the Miami Dolphins? And I know that's a pretty like, yo, what kind of question is that? But I'm gonna need you to answer it for real.
I think not to avoid the question, but the interesting thing is that the last
my bad, Kadeem, my bad. I'm gonna let you finish. That void that question. Like, that question doesn't matter. The real question I want to ask is, forget this year. What do the Dolphins do at quarterback with Tua now and moving forward? But you can continue.
Well, it's like it's so weird because with every injury, with every Tua concussion, there's a caveat. There's something where you can go, but X, Y, and Z, this won't happen again. So with the Bengals one, it's like, well, if you take jiu-jitsu so you don't fall in the back of your head, and so far that's worked. Okay, cool, brilliant. Tua knows how to avoid getting hit in the back of his head. With this one, you can say, well, cool, slide, because if he slides, he isn't going to fall head first into a player. Shout out to IMAX. IMAX said Trent Green slid and took a career-ending concussion while playing for us. And then he said, get the Heat's medical staff. They won't clear Tua because of what happened to Chris Bosh, which is funny because that's a conversation that myself and 5-Yard Lee had in the car yesterday. But I think if you're the Dolphins, you probably part of the reason people thought the Tua contract was going to be so difficult to do was because the wording around injuries and whether the Dolphins put something in that contract to say, hey, if you get hurt, this happens. And the moment he got concussed, people were like, what that contract say? Because, okay, say Tua doesn't get cleared. And, it's a case of, nah, you can't play football again. Shout out to Lee. If you're watching on YouTube, you saw Lee pop in to give me some candy coke as Lee leaves Miami to head to Orlando. But Sportrack have tweeted saying, While a full recovery is the only real focus here, in response to questions regarding Tua Tagovailoa's contract, the deal includes 167 million guaranteed for injury, 43 million of which have been paid in 2024. If he's medically cleared to return to football but opts to retire, he will follow the remaining 124 million guaranteed, barring a custom settlement. If he's medically fought into retirement, he has a right to collect the 124 million remaining. The other side of this equation gets a little tougher. If Tua is able to pass a physical next March, the Dolphins will have the ability to release him with only his 50 million of 2025 compensation on the hook. Tua's 2026 compensation of 54 million becomes fully guaranteed on March 14th. A post June 1st release prior to this means 80, and then it goes into a lot. But
right, so go ahead.
I was gonna say, it does seem to be like I can retweet that from the Go Time Dolphins account so people can understand it better. But the injury settlement, money, all that kind of stuff does seem like it's not as confusing as it would be. It's just a lot of money.
So I want to be clear. We're here having this conversation because of a I don't want to call it a failure, you know what I'm saying? But it was a neglect to protect yourself. You know what I'm saying? So because, you know what I'm saying, yeah, you want to be that spark. I want to do the spark, and I want to get the team in it, and you know the Javon Holland, rah, yeah, let's go. But at the same time, look at the type of conversation we're having now. You said, Kadeem, someone, Tom Brady. All right, Tom Brady, first of all, for those who are worried about Tom Brady playing football, he cannot play football anymore. He owns a team. So he can't play for that team or any other team. So he can't play football anymore in the NFL.
He does.
He does what? He's not a part owner?
Not yet. Apparently, because people were saying last night the whole race thing. Apparently, that hadn't gone through yet. So there's still a chance.
That's fair. But I don't want Brady. He's not it. I would honestly, if we were talking about like that, I would just bring in Phillip Rivers. Yo, deep balls to Tyreek and Waddle every play, and let's just live with it. But look, and about Tom Brady talking to Tua, here's the thing. I don't think no one has to talk to Tua no more. I think there have been so many conversations with Tua, and then he survived this entire season without being hurt. And now he's like, all right, yeah, we're good now. And it turns out we're not good now. So sitting here, I would say today, but he was concussed. I'll give it another day. Tomorrow, when Tua is fully back and coherent, he's going to realize, all right, I have to start thinking about some things. And part of those things to think about is, one, should I play football anymore? Should I walk away with $100 million? Should I keep playing? If I keep playing, I really can't take no more hits. I can't be trying to be the smart player. He knows that now. This is very clear. Because if this happens again after this, on his own accord, meaning, you know what I'm saying, not like someone blindsided and hitting him. If he is irresponsible and runs into people and it happens again, it's like, all right, you don't get it. You know what I'm saying? So you don't get it. Now the Dolphins are forced to take action. And honestly, this is where we arrive now. Because he hasn't gotten it, because I think he gets it now. You know what I'm saying? I think he gets it now. But because he hasn't gotten it, and he has put himself and the franchise in this position, the franchise now have to prepare themselves and put themselves in a position where you're going to have to think, well, what do we do with Tua moving forward, coming up to March? Like, nah, bro, we're not even letting you. We're going to Miami Heat you. The Miami Heat didn't let Chris Bosh play. You know what I'm saying? And I ain't gonna lie, that was a bad situation too, probably for the better. And they didn't let Chris Bosh play, and Chris Bosh never played again. There's a chance, there's a scenario where the Miami Dolphins move on from Tua because of money. And you see that happen every year in the NFL. Like, it's not because of ability. Like, ability to be a great quarterback. It's because we cannot trust that you will put us in a position to where we could trust your decision-making skills. Like, yo, this was a bad decision. So now, because we can't trust your decision-making, we have to prepare ourselves in a way that we did not want to go. So the contract, if we're talking about Tua playing football and he passes, March of 2025, that means they're on the hook for 2024 this year, 2025 next year. Then there's an out prior to 2026. So you can get out of more money if you move on from Tua in March. And if he passes March, you can still, next year is the last year, and then we'll just sever the contract at the end of 2025. So at a glance, when you look at the contract, and if I know the Miami Dolphins, and if I know Chris Greer, this is what I think is going to happen. I think Tua will come back, play football this year, play football for the Miami Dolphins next season, which is 2024, 2025. And we're gonna prepare ourselves to transition away from Tua. Be very clear how I worded that. We're not just gonna move on from Tua. We're gonna prepare ourselves to transition away from Tua. Meaning, do not be surprised if you see a quarterback drafted in the second round, drafted in the third round. You know what I'm saying? Do not be surprised if you see a quarterback, and I doubt it'll be in free agency, where you pay a quarterback $12 million to be the highest paid backup, or $14 million. I'm not sure what that is right now. Do not be surprised if you see a quarterback, and I'll just throw a name out there, and maybe he won't be in this position. Let's just say Derek Carr. You know what I'm saying? Derek Carr, the Saints move on from Derek Carr. No one believes in Derek Carr, and Derek Carr ends up being the backup for the Miami Dolphins for $20 million. Right? Do not be surprised if that happens. And Tua plays football in 2025. So now, that's the world we live in now, Kadeem. Like, dang, bro, we don't have $25 million to pay a backup quarterback just in case Tua wants to make a bad decision. You know what I'm saying? Now, I worded that the right way, because it's no longer just in case Tua gets hurt. It's like, yo, you're not putting yourself in the best decisions, in the best situations. You know what I'm saying? So now the Dolphins, again, have to protect themselves. Do we take a quarterback in the second or third round? And again, you taking the quarterback in the second or third round, that gives you 4 years now. Like, all right, we got 4 years of protecting ourselves, i.e. Green Bay Packers and Jordan Love. That was a first round pick. They paid a higher insurance policy, yet they still let that quarterback sit behind Aaron Rodgers. Same thing with Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre. That was even more egregious, but it worked out. Same thing with Michael Penix. That was a first round pick. Everyone knows they're going to hand it off. Those are situations where they knew we're moving on from quarterback. We just don't know when. What I suggest is, yo, we have to protect ourselves to be able to move on from Tua and have that quarterback sitting. All right. So now this is like the highest of highest insurance policies. All that being said, I do believe he will play this year. I also believe next year will be the year where the Dolphins say, all right, this is it for us, and risking our financial responsibility with Tua Tagovailoa Tagovailoa. And it's not because they want to, it's because they have to, because Tua has to do some things too, and the Miami Dolphins have to do some things too.
Before we get into bonus time, I feel like this Tua situation is like when you get phone insurance, and you get phone insurance for years and years and years. And now because the phone's like, you know what? I'm not spending $30 a year on paying phone insurance. So you get rid of it, and then the next week your phone drops and crashes. It's like, well, great, brilliant. When the Dolphins brought in Mike White and paid him, was it $8.5 million over 2 years? Everyone was like, what are you doing? But the Dolphins had to get some kind of insurance just in case Tua got hurt. Now, Mike White wasn't the best quarterback, but the idea and the premise behind Mike White and paying him all that money was that we don't know if Tua's going to get hurt this season, and if he does, we need to have someone with value who isn't Skylar Thompson to make sure that, if Tua gets hurt, we're protected. Tua's fine the entire season. Next season, Dolphins say, hey, Mike White, we don't need you no more. Tua's fine. We're paying you too much money. Not necessary. That guy goes, insurance tells Tua gets hurt. It's like, yo, of course. But again, it's the one thing I will say, and I said this last night to the 5-yard Lee and Simon, and you mentioned the Steelers game. I don't think Tua can protect himself because when he gets cleared, that first game, it will happen again. He will need to take a hit to know he can take it. And you can't play scared. So my worry is that when he gets cleared, he's going to want to take one hit to go, you know what, guys, I'm good. I needed to know mentally I can still play football and be rough and tumble. And how do you say to Tua, hey, do you know what, Tua, go back and play, but just avoid all contact. It's you want to test yourself, and I think that's my biggest worry. And also, we've got a few questions in the comments. We aren't ignoring you. We will get to that in due course.
You genuinely believe, Kadeem, like the last time when Tua came back against the Steelers and said, I need to know if I could take a hit and I need to know if I'm all right. You genuinely believe that he would do that one more time. Like, again, like, all right, I just had another concussion. I need to see if I'm all right. You like, this is a serious question. I'm not being facetious. Like, do you think Tua will come back out like, nah, bro, I need to see if I can take this hit?
I think
all right, while you mull on that, I don't think he will, bro. I think he understands, yo, this has nothing to do with the Miami Dolphins, bro. If the Miami Dolphins let you go, I don't know that another team takes a chance on you because you're not going to be able to be paid like a starting quarterback in the NFL. And then the team that literally trusted you with your injury, with your durabilities, they couldn't trust you and they moved on from you. I don't think another team, and I think he understands, like, yo, this is it for football, bro. This is not just a Dolphin thing. This is it for Tua and football. Like, he's going to be like, dang, I can't do this no more. I can't take these hits no more to even know. Now, you said you can't play scared. You're right. You can't play scared, but you can play smart. You don't have to play scared to play smart. Playing smart is not playing scared. Like, if I take a hit, I'm going to get a concussion. We don't know that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be very clear. I don't believe if he takes a hit, he's going to be concussed. But I do believe, I have concerns that you can't take violent hits because that hit was not violent. As violent as you would, I should say, that hit did not appear to be that violent. So my concern is I don't believe you should take violent hits. So that is not playing scared like, oh, well, if I take a violent hit, I'm going to be concussed. Again, you can play smart. You don't have to play scared. So all that being said, and we'll like you say, there's some comments I see that we should get into. We'll get into those on bonus time. We'll answer all the questions, all the comments, whatever we got going on. We'll answer all of them. But I do believe, and I'll give it back to you before we go to bonus time if you want to clear some up. I do believe Tua has arrived at a place where he's going to say, all right, I can't do X, Y, and Z no more. Whether that's I can't play football no more, or I can't take these type of hits anymore, or I can't be the spark plug anymore, or I have to slide. I think Tua is going to have a conversation with himself. Like, all right, I can't do that anymore. And because of that, the Dolphins have to have a conversation too and say, all right, well, are we moving forward with Tua in 2025? Because if we do, we have to, and this is where I was on things. I wanted a good backup, but a younger backup that you don't have to pay, as opposed to a older backup that you have to pay tons of money to. So the Dolphins have to have the conversation and say, hey, we're drafting somebody fairly high. You know what I'm saying? And fairly high does not mean first round. I don't believe it's a first round pick. second, third, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Wherever you're happy with finding a quarterback, but it has to be better than Skylar Thompson to be a backup. Or they're going to say, nah, we're going to go ahead and pay the Derek Carrs of the world $20 million to be a backup. And the Dolphins don't have that cap to do that. So the franchise and the worst case scenario, which one can argue is not the worst case scenario for Tua, is they move on from him this season. That is in the realm of possibilities where the Dolphins say, nah, bro. Like, if we protect, and I'm not sure of the actual dollar amount, if we move on from Tua this year, we could save over $100 million. If we move on from Tua next year, we could save $50 million. So this could just be a straight up business decision and say, nah, I want to save an additional $100 million. And it's not even it doesn't have to do anything but finances. Like, nah, bro, I'm gonna save my $100 million and we're gonna move on from quarterback this season. And that's in the realm of possibility. But you know, like it's bro, not everybody gets to play football and make over $100 million and you know, secure their finances for their family. And that's where Tua is. But if he wants to play football longer than where he's at right now, it can't be about that no more. So you want to say anything before we go on to bonus time?
Yeah, very quickly. So Rob says, I think he knows now he can't take one. And to be clear, I agree with that. I think he knows he can't take one. I also think if he knows he can't take one, I think he will lean towards retirement because, like we said, it was on the other side of violent, if that makes sense. It wasn't violent, it was on the other side. I think if he knows he can't take many hits, dude, you probably need to retire because, again, you can't protect yourself. Or, like, there's no way to avoid it. But I also think that competitor in him will be like, hey, I came back from it once. Do you know what? I don't know because I'm not Tua. And some people will risk it and say, hey, I've been medically cleared and the doctor told me while I need to be smart, I can keep going and play football. And I say that from someone who watches wrestling and has had, wrestling's fake. I'm not going to say it's real. But I've seen people medically retire due to concussions, come back and, like I said earlier, wrestle like they used to before, simply because, they're able to. Now, for every Bryan Danielson, you've got a Bret Hart. Bret Hart got one concussion. That was it. He's isn't allowed to take a single hit to end again. And I guess that's probably the case scenario. Tua has a Bret Hart situation as opposed to a Bryan Danielson situation. But
yeah, I'll just reiterate one more time. There's this, shout out to Joe Burrow, Joey Bullets. The man had a concussion during a game, said he knew he had a concussion and could not remember a whole half of the game. Like it never happened. So I do believe that players have multiple concussions that go unannounced or I don't know the word I'm looking for right now, but they don't go unaddressed, I guess.
Undiagnosed.
Undiagnosed. Thank you, Kadeem. Shout out to my sidekick. You know what I'm saying? Teamwork make the dream work. So I do believe there are players that have undiagnosed concussions, multiple of them during the season. And do I believe this is? I don't know that this is more of a. I don't know, but we're gonna get into the bonus time. We're gonna talk some more, honestly, and we're gonna get into everything in the comments too. So y'all know what time it is. Stay positive, test negative. For Kadeem Simmons, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time. Already.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. ain't wasting no time.
So there was a question. Hopefully you're still here. Shout out to Rick Diaz. Rick Diaz says, "Gentlemen, good morning. Good morning, Rick. Can I ask a question to both of you about last night's game last night? What happened to the Miami Dolphins? I'm looking like they must have got blown away. I don't know. They gave up all these points in the first and second quarter. Miami Dolphins, I don't know about that. I wonder. I saw the game last night. I could not believe what I saw the score." So yeah, I guess the question is, what happened to the Miami Dolphins last night, Charlie?
I mean, in short, I understand where you want to be, but they beat themselves, bro. Game, I'm not one for, this game's over. First quarter, it's over. It's not really, but the way the Dolphins came out and handed the game to Buffalo did not do anything to beat us. They did not they did run on our offense. They did run all over our defense, but it was like we didn't do anything. They didn't do anything other than that. We had all the turnovers, lost the turnover battle, running wrong routes, passes hitting off a shoulder pass and becoming turnovers. Like, come on, man, you can't win a football game like that, especially against a team like the Buffalo Bills, who I believe the Jacksonville Jaguars can beat Buffalo. I don't even think Buffalo, like, that's another thing. I don't even know how good the Dolphins are right now. I don't know how good the Dolphins are, and I don't even know how good Buffalo is. I don't believe we got any understanding of how good these teams are right now, Kadeem.
So just to kind of answer the question about quarterback, Mike McDaniel said the team are moving forward Skylar Thompson, but will sign a QB for depth. And it does seem it's going to be a veteran quarterback. So at the very least, someone's coming in, but it sounds like they're going to be a backup to Skylar Thompson, and we quite know who it's going to be. Ryan Tannehill.
You got to have three quarterbacks. Like if the NFL allows you to have three quarterbacks, if one quarterback goes out, you have to have another one. You know what I'm saying? So that's not really news. Go ahead.
No, but in terms of it being a veteran, so if we say, hey, go and sign Jaron Hall, it seems like no, it's going to be someone with, at the very least, multiple years experience. And again, that's where people will start going, okay, is it a Ryan Tannehill? Do they go and see what Jimmy G's doing? I think he's currently backing up Matt Stafford in LA. Do they go and see what Winston is doing? Like, it's, the Dolphins aren't going to go and get someone who's only had like 2 years. So even though it's new that we knew the Dolphins are going to get someone, it being a veteran kind of will lead people to go Ryan Tannehill. And again, I feel like Dolphin fans kind of forget the past. It's like we saw the Ryan Tannehill and Jarvis Landry years. And what the Dolphin fans want to do? Go and get Ryan Tannehill and Jarvis Landry. It's like, yo, that was so successful the first time. Let's run it back and see if we can do it again.
So shout out to IMAX. He said, I don't believe in Derek Carr. I mean, IMAX, bro. If it's a backup, a lot of people aren't really believing in their backups, but you have to have backups. So that's why I was talking about Derek Carr or the likes of Derek Carr as a backup quarterback. You hope you don't have to see your backup quarterbacks, but in the event you do, it should be someone who could actually play football well. And I don't believe we have that right now.
Agreed. Mike McDaniel also said Tua will be assessed daily, which again isn't news, but he did say last night that Tua was expected to be in the building today. Jason Stamp says, I don't think you can proceed with Tua as an NFL quarterback. That's not even funny, so I probably shouldn't have clicked that. I apologize for that one. And then Rob says the options aren't great. And that's the thing. They're not. There's no... I don't know, Charlie. If you had to pick one veteran quarterback to go and get right now, who would it be?
I don't believe it's going to be a trade. I don't believe the Dolphins are going to spend assets on. All right, well, like this. Let's be clear. Oh, you hit a mic just flanger like that?
No.
Oh, the mic just did a flanger, like some we lost connection somehow. It was crazy. So if the Dolphins are saying, all right, we're saving $100 million and the plan is to move on from Tua, then yeah, I can see them using assets on trying to be competitive this year and trading for a backup quarterback. I do not believe that's the case. If the Dolphins are waiting for Tua to be cleared to play football this year and they're just adding a third quarterback to the roster, then it's going to be whoever is available today. I don't know who's available today. Can you pull up a list? Stat check. Can you go to free agent NFL quarterbacks? Is that possible?
We'll find out in a sec.
Free agent NFL quarterbacks.
I'm looking on Bow Track, but I didn't get internet connection to the hotel, so
I ain't gonna lie, bro. I wish. Go ahead.
Yeah, that makes no sense. Nah, at the moment it doesn't look possible because it's giving me Kirk Cousins as the first quarterback. I know he's not a free agent, so that's not helpful.
Go ahead.
Okay, I can. So according to Spotrac, the top 5 available quarterbacks: Ryan Tannehill,
Yep.
Brian Hodge, Lane Gabbert, AJ McCarron, Matt Barkley. It's also got Trevor Simeon, Logan Woodside, and Ben DiNucci. That's all the quarterbacks available according to Spotrac. But there's obviously more. I assume it's just looking at guys who are being paid. So like Jaron Hall, I don't know where he is right now. He's not on this list, and I believe there's more than 8 available quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Not right now.
Bro, this is bro. I really, really, really like Carson Wentz, bro. And when Carson Wentz was available, I'm like, yo, Carson Wentz is more than plausible. Like he is. I think Carson Wentz is a top 40 quarterback in the NFL right now. I know we have our top 32 list, but I think he's in the top 40, Carson Wentz. But let's look up Jaren Hall and see what he's doing. I do not believe the Dolphins are considering Jaren Hall, but it looks like Jaren Hall is in Seattle. Seattle Seahawks. Damn, I like that. Oh, nah, let's not do that. I was thinking like, yo, what Tua brother doing? You know what I'm saying? I guess you can't do that, but yeah, all right. But now, man, we need to figure out what we're gonna do at quarterback. All right, if you want my actual opinion, because I think I don't know that I gave you my actual opinion yet, but I think I told you all the possibilities. My actual opinion. So I don't know who you go get at quarterback right now. Like I think you're just getting a placeholder at quarterback. I don't think you're getting a quarterback that's going to play football for you this season. To answer your question about this year, I don't think it matters if I'm being real with you. So what I think we do at quarterback today, like with Tua, I think you let him clear concussion protocol. And this might sound insensitive, but I don't believe it is. But as soon as the Dolphins, as soon as the NFL clears him to play, and as soon as the doctors say he can play, you let him play, bro. You let him play. He understands the risk. We understand the risk. And at this moment, Chris Greer, well, this is my opinion. Chris Greer needs to be thinking, all right, what decision do I want to make? And go with that. Now, again, I'll go back to my what I think we should do. I do believe Tua gets cleared, he plays. That is it. But now, I believe this offseason, you invest one way or the other, which I doubt it would be financially, into like a $20 million backup or X $1 million backup. I'm not sure. I don't think you do that. I do believe you have to spend an asset in a trade or a draft pick on bringing in a more than capable backup. Not talking about these backups that's on the market right now. Not talking about the likes of Tannehill. Not talking about the likes of Mike White's. I'm talking about better or starting at Jameis Winston and better. It has to be someone who can win games if Tua goes down. Not, oh, well, we're just holding on. You know what I'm saying? This guy has to keep us afloat until Tua comes back. I don't want that. I want a quarterback that can win games. Now, I believe you should go draft one. I think Jaren Hall is actually a starter in the NFL. Well, actually, I don't believe he's a starter, but I think he can become that. I think he's more than plausible. And I think you go get like a young, we're going to groom you to be our next quarterback, hoping you're not our next quarterback. And that's how the NFL used to be. Like, let's draft somebody young, bring like Skylar Thompson, but better. Like, instead of waiting for the 6th or 7th round, you draft someone unfortunately high, and you groom him to be your next quarterback in case he has to be your next quarterback. And that's what I think the Dolphins should do. You have the chance to see what Tua looks like for the rest of this season. And if he looks like what we signed at $50 million, then you let him play next season. Now you're on the hook for more money, but then you're going to get your answer. Now, that is when I think you draft someone like, hey, I ain't going to lie. Now there's I don't want to say there's competition, but the eye test will say half the fans are going to be like, nah, bro, we want the backup in. The backup is that good. And that's what we should have now next season in the draft. And then since Tua will be playing the entire 2025, you still get to see him. But that's all I got, man. What do you think? What is your opinion of what you would do with our quarterback situation now?
So this kind of, I agree, but I disagree with what you just said, simply because teams take quarterbacks in the first round to start and fail. Teams take quarterback in every single round, either to start or to be a backup, and it doesn't work. We took Skylar Thompson in the 7th round. It hasn't panned out, but no one genuinely sit here in 2024 and tell me that the 49ers took Brock Purdy to start NFL games. They did not. They took Brock Purdy as a cheap option because they wanted Trey Lance to work out. And Trey Lance didn't work out. And the nicest possible way, Brock Purdy panned out. That, you can call it great scouting, you can call it luck, whatever you want to call it. The Dolphins could have every intention to draw someone in the 2nd round next year to groom them to be a starter, and you get someone who ends up being Skylar Thompson, but in the 2nd round in 7th. Like, when did the Titans take Malik Willis? The 2nd round? Third round. And he's already failed in Tennessee, and he's now starting games in Green Bay. And again, I wouldn't want Malik Willis starting free, but I understand what you're saying. It's just, it's not Madden, if that makes sense, and you can have the best intentions in the world, but quarterbacks flame out 24/7. So for me, it's a matter of, yes, I would probably draft someone on day 2, but I'm getting a veteran quarterback. So next year, I'm bringing in 2 new quarterbacks, one older, one younger. But we have a bunch of comments, starting with.
Hold on. Before we get to the comments, because I don't want to forget what you just said. Malik Willis, by the way, is the perfect comparison to Skylar Thompson. I believe Skylar Thompson is barely better than Malik Willis. Like, Malik Willis is not it, bro. And I believe that's what we have with Skylar Thompson. Like, dog, like, we don't have what we need. So, and to your point, before we get to the comments, yeah, you don't know. You're rolling dice with any quarterback. You know what I'm saying? You could take a quarterback in the 1st round, he don't pan out. You could take a quarterback 3rd overall, Trey Lance, and he doesn't work out. So we understand that. But what I'm saying is, put yourself in a position to move on potentially from quarterback. Now, if you go 7th round and you like the guy, then cool, you went 7th round. But I'm not saying like, yo, you have to go in the 2nd round. I'm saying you have to draft a quarterback that you believe can be the starter of this football team for the foreseeable future. They don't believe Skylar Thompson can be the starter of the football team for the foreseeable future. So I don't care where you draft that guy. I just believe, knowing football, that it's more than likely going to have to be a higher pick. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, it doesn't have to be. I don't care where you do it, but you have to draft a quarterback that you think is going to be the starter of this team if Tua goes down.
And I think that's the thing I agree with. You can't go through the next draft and not take a quarterback. We didn't do it this year. Cool, enough. Yeah, next year the Dolphins probably need to go into New England territory and just draft a quarterback every single year and just see what hits the wall. But I think we got to this. But if not, I'll do it again. Jason Stamp said, "I will try to acquire Brett Ripien from the Vikings." Back to Joe Levesque. He says, "This is just a bad situation for Tua and the Dolphins. Hope Tua a speedy recovery, but I hope he does what he feels is right for him. If he plays again, great. As long as he's cleared to play, great." Shout out to Thomas Valentine. He said, "Bring Ryan Tannehill home. Thomas, I will bring you home. Go away." Cap for Life says, "A neuro doctor was fired for not covering up the concussion. This is on the Dolphins and media for knowing and staying hush hush. The Dolphins team gets what it deserves. Go get Tom Brady or Carson Wentz or Ryan Tannehill now. Need to show me the money, the it factor." He says, "The football gods do not like ugly. Flores tried to tell us now it's 4 times in 3 years. The local media is the only one to blame for $200 million, and now the national media is destroying Miami. It was just more than beautiful people." Says Flores was right. Shout out to Liam. He says, "Go and get Tannehill and at least compete this year and in the short term." Thomas agrees with Liam. And then shout out to Cliff D, says, "There's always next year." Charlie, this was not the end to my first Miami trip that I had hoped for. I thought I was going to go.
It was going well.
Charlie, I saw the Miami Marlins destroyed the Philly team. The Philadelphia, what are they called? Not the Flyers.
Phillies.
I was like, oh, yo, this is a great start. I saw the Dolphins come back and beat Jacksonville. I was like, yo, I'm 2 for 2 across 3 different sports. I've got this. Buffalo, you have nothing for me. And here we are, spending 2 hours talking about whether the Dolphins and it was going to be better. Charlie, I don't know what curse I have because I thought the curse was broken.
Bro, you don't have to own. See, that's the thing, bro. You receive it, bro. You don't have to receive that, bro. Like you like, no, I don't want it. I don't own it. You know what I'm saying? It's not on you. You feel me? It is what it is, man. It's unfortunate. But here we are, and it's crazy because this is why every time someone says Tyreek Hill is, and I want to be very clear, Go Time Dolphins voted in the Go Time Dolphins Awards that Tyreek Hill was the MVP. He almost went for 2,000 yards, and it sounded really good. But before we gave the MVP to Tyreek Hill, we said, yo, let's be real. If this team goes without Tyreek Hill, we could still win games. If this team is out Tua Tagovailoa, we're not winning nothing. Tua is the team MVP, bro. This team goes as Tua goes. And for anyone who says Tua is not good, you know what I'm saying? All right, you can say, well, he's not available. Cool. If you say he's not good, bro, that is absolutely false. Because look what happens when we have a healthy quarterback, and look at how we look, right? So something I'm glad I remember now. There are we're about to go. There are a couple NFL football players that used to get several bad concussions or visibly bad concussions. I'm like, man, that. And I don't want to put no names out there just in case I mix players up. I don't put that on nobody. But there was a bunch that I remember. I'm like, yo, another one. You know what I'm saying? Receiver for the Colts. He used to always go out. I'm like, dang, bro, this is like number 3 or 4. You know what I'm saying? And he come back. And obviously, as a receiver, you have to take hits. So he would take hits and then be visibly shook, having a concussion. So I'm like, dang, at what point do you say you got to stop? You feel me? So, and there was a bunch of dudes that I remember playing football, and I'm like, dang, bro, it might be time to consider. So now that our quarterback is having visibly bad concussions, is like the fact that you're not protecting yourself. You're not a receiver. You're not a running back. You're not a linebacker. You know what I'm saying? That has to deliver these hits. It's crazy to me. I'm like, bro, you can't put yourself or the franchise in this situation. I.e., you said, I know I'm the highest paid employee, and you got to make decisions like the highest paid employee, and that's where we are, man. It's unfortunate, and I hate that it has to be our team. But I'm still, the hill that I'm dying on, Kadeem, is, our quarterback is still legit. We still got a good quarterback. It's not like we have a trash quarterback. You know what I'm saying? But now we have to have different conversations about what we do at quarterback, and that's the unfortunate part. And I do want to say this, just in case there's like, if anyone thinks I'm wavering or anything. Like, I've been a Dolphin fan forever. Kadeem, you actually seen my block where I lived on. You seen the block that I grew up on, right? Across the street from the stadium. Out of all the Dolphin fans that I met, out of all the Dolphin players that I met, out of all the Dolphin players that I know, out of all the Dolphin players that I've come across with, I've had encounters with, like, I've been a fan of the team forever. Now, Tua is my favorite Dolphin player, bro. Like, he has overcome so much foolishness and so much in the media and so much minutia. You know what I'm saying? That I'm like, for him to overcome that, I'm happy for him. But now it's like, once again, we're here because of a negligence of just protecting yourself, man. So that's unfortunate. Kadeem, see us out.
As Cap says, are we here? If you need an Uber, he's got us. I'm in Miami for 24 more hours, then I'm heading to Orlando. So Miami has been the highs of a football fan and the lows. It's been amazing, but it's unfortunate that it's ending the way it is ending. But the show must go on, and I guess we will see what happens over the next few days. Once again, Dolphins are going to be the talk of the media. Every segment, every show, every podcast is going to be focused around Tua Tagovailoa. But, Go Time Dolphins will continue, and I guess it's a long-winded way of saying we shall see you on the next one. Peace.